What's up, everybody? Tony here from Kapowcast, bringing you the Loki episode 4 recap. Joining me today from her own personal Asgard, Christy.
Hello.
And before we get rolling, make sure you hit that subscribe button, the bell for notifications, the little thumbs up, all that stuff to help us beat the dreaded algorithm of YouTube and or podcatchers everywhere. So episode 4. Definitely an upbeat from episode 3. I'm really glad about that. Initial thoughts on episode 4.
I mean, as soon as the episode finished, 1, I was angry. I couldn't immediately talk about it with somebody. And 2, I was just like, holy shit.
Yep, that was my thoughts exactly.
So, yeah, definitely different from last week. I was correct in stating that a lot of the stuff we saw last week would line up into something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, good to see that happened. But, wow.
Yeah.
Wowie wow.
Yeah. There was a lot that happened in this episode that was like actual shocking.
Yeah.
There was moments where I was just like taken back. I was like, what? Did that just happen?
Yeah.
Oh my God. No. I was like, wow.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
I don't remember where the interview was sourced from, but there is a quote saying that we're not going to get the quintessential wow from our boy,
that
Owen
was
Wilson.
That was, I think it was like episode 2. The director said he does not say his infamous wow.
Yeah.
But he did in this episode get in a how.
Yeah. So we got close.
It was very close.
Someone can go in and edit the audio, I'm sure,
Yes.
and just flip it around. We can get our wow.
Wow. But yeah, that kind of started off in a pretty upbeat note. I mean, in comparison to the last episode, everything was an upbeat note, but it was definitely one that held my attention a lot more. So let's kick it off. What was your first moment of the episode?
This week was tough because like you said, there was a lot.
There was a lot.
I'm gonna go with baby Sylvie when they go and grab her and start calling her Variant.
Mm-hmm.
1, just because, wow, the TVA is a bunch of child snatchers, and 2, because dang, that little girl's smart.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
This is gonna be the
That's
wow.
gonna be the wow episode.
Wow. Yeah. And not to mention I think that was like the first time that the TVA actually gave me the weird vibe.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what in the world did this like little girl do that the TVA has to come snatch her up from playing Valkyrie and take her away and basically prune? Well, they were planning to prune her, from what I understand. So I was like, okay, that's weird. There's no way that this girl has done anything yet, because everything that they've done, the TVA has done, feels reactive, never proactive.
Yeah.
It's always, oh, you screwed up the timeline and we're here to fix the timeline. Where this instance felt like you're gonna do something to screw the timeline up, so we're gonna stop you now.
Yeah.
But they're alone doing that, you would screw up the timeline, which is the beginning. I was telling you before we started, is the beginning of my theory.
Okay.
Of what is happening here. But yeah, that girl is entirely too smart for her own good. And she's also in Asgard. The little Sylvie is in Asgard, so she must have been adopted by some variety of the sorts of Odin, because she was also in the palace.
Yeah.
So there's still more that she hasn't told us, and Loki, our Loki, the Loki we all know and love.
Yeah.
That still has yet to unfold.
Yeah.
So yeah, excited about that. Also, really weird that our head hunter at that moment of escape, she didn't do anything. She didn't run after Sylvie. Nothing. She almost let it happen, which is point number 2. Remember these points because when I'm not going to go over them again when I go over my theory.
Cat just looking like Charlie.
Yeah.
From It's Always Sunny with the red string in the back, connecting all the dots later.
I'm going to put a little picture of it up for the YouTube people. All right. So the second moment.
All right. So our second moment. See, it's so tough. I'm going to have to go with a callback to Mike in our first recap episode going, man, that's some acting. And it's going to be the departure of sweet, sweet Mobius.
Oh, that was a hard one.
Yeah. I almost cried.
Yeah. Like he's just talking about his jet ski.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden just prune him and just zap-a-dap.
That's it. One, Renslayer is heartless. I hate her.
Oh, she is cold as ice, baby.
And 2, man, they really were friends. I mean, I didn't think they were. I was like, this is you guys have known each other for what, like 6 days TVA time? This is not possible. But man, they're friends.
Yeah. It's I did not see it coming whatsoever.
No.
Because when it happened, I got that nose tingle.
Yep.
I was like, oh my God, like, no.
Yeah. It's
Owen.
It's my allergies.
I think I even sat there and I looked at Janelle and I was like, wow.
Wow. Harrison really brought the acting chops into this episode.
He did. He's just talking about like, you know, what got me and what kind of like set my my intuition into gear in the scene was, you know, you asked me where I'd go in time, anywhere I'd go if I wanted to go somewhere. I'd go to, you know, before, you know, I would go back to my life, what I knew before this, and I was just like, oh no, like the jig is up. You just let them know that like there's some shady shit going on and you're on to them. I was like, they're going to take you away. They're going to throw you in the red door room. Yeah. And then they were just like, psst, and I was like, that was a little harsh. Yeah.
They deceased him.
They deceased him.
Yeah.
Deceased him.
Just took him right out. But yeah, there's the multi levels to this. 1, we get the acting chops. 2, we get this whole setup for the TVA being like, okay, yeah, they know now. Mm-hmm. They know. Mm-hmm. And then we also kind of get this whole Loki and Mobius partnering up and planning to take down the TVA. So I wonder if he explained the situation and his plans, Mobius, before they left the red door. So Loki is fully in on it and has like a plan B of like, okay, this is the inner workings. Maybe this is how we can get out of it. Right. Or if he's just kind of left out in there.
Because I call that the Ocean's 8. Yeah. Where things are playing out, but you don't know there's a plan behind it all.
Exactly.
So yeah, like I was upset because like finally Mobius and Loki are both on the same page. Yeah. And I'm like, great. All right. Partners. Perfect. You guys are finally going to start getting going. And then they queued him up. And I was like, damn it.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, it's going to be the buddy cop sequence of them working together instead of constantly tearing each other down. Mm-hmm. No, we did not get that yet.
So I'm curious now, just to get it out of the way. What was your third moment?
All right. So there's a tie here. It is one moment that I'm referring to as the curtain falls with the Wizard of Oz vibes from the timekeeper reveal. And then, of course, the epilogue scene. Because, what? So we can't not talk about that. So we have a two-parter. So the first one is, holy crap, they're just mindless androids. Mm-hmm. Who is the puppeteer? Because dang, also Disney, why you got to do the vocal effects and you can turn on the closed captioning because I can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, they did say a lot, and I was just like, I don't understand what they said.
Yeah, I had to rewind it and put the closed captions on because
yeah, they totally pulled the book out of the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, I was just like, oh, there's some like great and powerful Oz shit going on here.
Yeah, there's like a big reveal. You're like, man, these dudes are kind of scary.
They looked great too. They looked awesome. Like I love the design of them, and they're very reminiscent of like the timekeepers from the comics. Like
Okay.
they're pretty like on point with the way their faces look. And I was like, wow, dude, they did a really good job. And I was like, okay, let's see what that. And then we get this boomerang weapon throw and decapitated robot head, and I was like, what? Wow.
Yeah, but budget only called for, what was it, like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
So we got 5
And
minutes of
they let out
timekeepers.
that weird like maniacal cackle, and then they just were like, boom,
Yeah.
and powered down. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? What is going on? Like, I have never been like asking the question what so many times in any of these so far. Well, maybe WandaVision's a very close
Yeah.
like second, but like this episode I was just like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, it was a lot of what? No. No.
No. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. So yeah, the whole sequence, even the chamber, everything about that scene
It was awesome.
was fantastic.
Could not say something about it.
Yeah, it was, and the fight sequence was decent.
So I was going to say, it was very entertaining. Also, a little kind of side note on that. I was looking through Twitter, and Sophia, who plays Sylvie, her costume, she just had a kid, right? So
Oh,
she's still
yeah.
nursing. Yeah, her costume was actually designed specifically so that she could nurse easily while on set. So shout out to the costume designer. I think Christine something. Once again, we're terrible with names here. But yeah, the costume designer making accessibility for mothers on set. That's fantastic.
I seen that earlier, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't know. I keep thinking of the timekeeper's head, like
Just
falling
dropping
down
and rolling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like falling down the stairs, and just that was so fucking weird. Like-
Yeah, that was an instance where I was just like, what? No, wait,
I was like,
No.
hold up.
wait. And I was like waiting. I was like, why is there no blood? Like, and I was waiting. I was like, his head's going to regenerate. Like, that's why they're laughing like that. Because the head's going to pop back up and be like, you think is that easy to kill us?
Right.
You kidding me?
That's kind of what I was thinking too. I was like, okay, well, like obviously they're almighty and powerful. So,
Yeah.
and when they walked in there, I obviously I've bit on the theory of Kang being brought in, because Kang would be a pretty solid MCU follow up from Thanos.
Yeah.
I was like, I sat there after Endgame going, who could they bring in that isn't like completely left field and like just hard to swallow for a normal person, and who can top Thanos? Because that's the thing. When they started Thanos back in 2012, I was like, wow, you're going to throw that card already?
Yeah.
Like, that's a big card to throw down already. And so they obviously, we all know they flushed that out and threw down the card. It was fantastic. But you're left after Endgame going, well, what next?
Yeah.
Like, you did Thanos. There's not too many people that you could like bring into this like reality based movie that like wouldn't just be like, wait, so this guy can do this, and this, but he's also this person's second cousin twice removed.
Yeah.
So Kang the Conqueror would be a pretty solid one, especially after the Doctor Strange coming into play and all this other stuff. A lot of more time manipulation and all that jazz, to the point where everybody obviously pulling the Mephisto card this time around again is like, Kang the Conqueror, Kang the Conqueror. And I was like, I'll bite on Kang the Conqueror, because Kang the Conqueror would be really, really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
I would I would totally buy in on that. And I was like, and I could see that actually being a remotely possible character to be featured in the next, quote unquote Infinity Saga.
Exactly.
So, but I don't think they're going to bring him in via MCU deal. I think they're going to be setting stuff up to bring him in, but
Okay.
I don't personally think we will see Kang the Conqueror in the show. But so the second, the tie was, the post credits scene.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. That was a great scene.
Yeah, which if you didn't catch on, because I had a friend who watched WandaVision who did not realize there were post-credit scenes, and she was very confused.
How do you not know this by now?
Listen.
This is literally common knowledge.
I know. So if you have not watched it, go back and watch it and then come back and finish this episode because spoilers.
2008, it started.
I know. And it's an MCU thing. Also, the credits, like the screen will get smaller if there's not going to be something.
Right.
It stays big if there's going to be something. Don't jump it. All right.
Yeah. Just just watch it for just a little bit longer.
Yeah. Why don't you read some of the names? Maybe memorize them, unlike we do. And, give some credit where credit's due.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, our end credit scene with the multi-Loki verse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is it Robert E. Grant?
I believe that's his
as
name.
classic Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very fun.
I believe that was him that said the line at the end.
Yeah.
Loki says, "Am I dead?"
Yes.
And he says,
will
"No."
be.
He says, "Not yet, but you will be if you don't come with us." And by the way, I totally threw this in Josh's face the other day. I go, "This is what I'm talking about. How do you put a sex on a miscreant like this that can be an alligator?"
Yeah. Yep.
An alligator.
Yeah.
Bro, you can't do that.
Yeah, he's whatever he wants to be. All right. Whatever he wants.
But yeah, you had Kid Loki. You had old school comic Loki, which I lost my shit when I seen him in that costume. I was like,
yeah, I had to rewind it. And then I was like, oh, this is my sweet retro loving little heart when they did it in WandaVision with the classic costumes.
With the classic costumes.
And then they did it with the Loki in the classic costume. I was like, I'm here for all of this.
It was so cool because that's the thing that so many nerds like just bitched about when Loki or when everybody came into the MCU. That is not the classic Captain America suit. That is not the classic Iron Man suit. I don't like that look.
Yeah, but how cheesy would it be?
It would be super cheesy. Just look at it.
See? We know now exactly how cheesy it would be.
Just look at it. It looks so
it has its time and place.
Yes.
But the movies wouldn't feel as epic as they do with friggin' just jersey cotton stretch Captain America showing up, all right?
And you also have Kid Loki.
Yes.
Which is it's a pretty if you read the comics, it's a pretty keen character. It was a lot of fun. A lot of shit goes on. And so we find out that there's a world full of pruned Lokis, which by the way, I'm throwing it down. It's New York.
That's
and
okay.
over on the right side of the screen, that's Avengers Tower.
Yeah, okay. That's what I paused it and was staring at it for a long time, and I was like, this feels like it's got to be New York, one of the versions of New York. It looks too much like it. Mm-hmm. It's got to be it. So I'm happy to hear that you think the same.
Yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah, so I IMDb'd the credits, and the other Loki that was there called Boastful Loki.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're new to this. We're a casual viewer, not a deep comic reader.
I have a theory. We're going to see an army of Lokis taking on the TVA. That's not my theory I'm talking about earlier, but that's another theory.
This is a side note to the red yarn tangle.
Yes.
So,
but yeah, no, I think we'll see an army of Lokis taking on the TVA.
Yeah. So then it's has the TVA just been snatching up Lokis from every timeline? Is that what's been going? Okay.
I feel
segue to the theory.
I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to segue into it. Okay. So been working this out for since the beginning of Loki almost. The TVA has never given me good feelings.
No.
But I also know that personally I have a problem with authority. So I figured maybe that's what it was.
Once again, underlying therapy with the MCU.
So anyways, we get to this point, right? Or we kind of got to it last week when we find out that everybody that works at the TVA is a variant.
Yes. And
then we dig into that a little bit deeper this week with Owen Wilson, his character kind of coming to light, and B-15 helping out Loki's to basically defeat the timekeepers, defeat them, whatever happened there. Here is my theory. The TVA is not a body for good.
No.
And the sacred timeline is not, it's not what we would think as a sacred timeline, the all epitome timeline. I think the TVA is run by somebody that is manipulating all the timelines to get to a certain event to bring forth somebody or something.
Yeah.
So all this stuff has to go right, which is why it's so critical that it stays within that thing. And I think Loki, all forms of Loki, can bring a stop to that event.
Yeah.
So they're grabbing all the Lokis that don't die and banishing them or whatever they're doing with them when they prune them, to basically get them out of the way.
Yeah.
So that this event can come forth. Who that is and what is going to happen, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not going to build it that much. I just think that the sacred timeline isn't the sacred timeline. A lot of people I talk to, they're like, well, wouldn't like Thanos doing the snap be a Nexus event? I go, no. Well, is Tony Stark, when he does the snap, is that a Nexus event? No. Why isn't it a Nexus event? I go, because they were both supposed to happen per the TVA.
Yeah.
Those events were supposed to happen, supposed to play out that way. It's when Loki escapes, that wasn't supposed to happen per the TVA. Because as one would know with multiverse theory, multi-timeline theory, however you want to say it, it's not the factor of one and done. There's hundreds of different timelines that happen. And those hundreds of different timelines stream off from people, things, or whatever doing the opposite of what has been done. So, the actions are your consequences, right?
Exactly.
So you go to the mall and you buy a pretzel. That day plays out one more. If you go to the mall for a pretzel, but then you decide, well, I want those little mini powdered donuts, like from the stand across the way. Yeah. Well, then your day plays out a different way. Two branches diverged.
I love that this took a turn for like a Stranger Things mall food court.
Or string theory.
Or, yeah.
But so, yeah, that's my theory, is that somebody has formed the TVA to bring forth, essentially, I guess it would be their own Nexus event. Yeah. To get to whatever the end game is. But yeah, that's the theory. That's the theory. What do you think about it?
That's not too far fetched. It's kind of along the lines of what I was thinking as well, as far as this sacred timeline not necessarily being the end all be all of time itself,
right? But
being the end all be all for someone's end goal.
Yes.
Especially with the reveal of the timekeepers just being puppets. Mm-hmm. And that like maniacal cackle in the background, and then I immediately was like, who would do this?
Yeah.
Or who wants themselves to be like the most powerful being and is doing everything in their power to make sure that anyone who could possibly be a threat to whatever end goal they have can be taken out via whatever timeline and all the timelines that they need to be.
Also, before we get further into this episode, I'm also going to state here for the record, I think the TVA is inside the quantum realm.
Oh.
I think they're inside the quantum realm.
Oh.
I went back and I watched a couple of the episodes again.
Yeah.
And remarkably, in the first couple episodes and a little bit in the third, I think, it always says, well, time moves differently in the TVA.
Yeah.
Time does this in the TVA. Well, age does this in the TVA. Where else does time move differently?
Well, hot damn.
I think the TVA is based in the quantum realm.
I think you're onto something there. What if they bring in our boy Scott Lang?
What if Scott?
What if we get some Paul Rudd action up in here on the Loki series?
I don't know. Maybe that's where we're heading. Maybe that's Loki will lead into the new Ant-Man movie.
Maybe.
I forget what they're calling it. Quantum something. I can't remember the name now. but we're obviously, we know that going in with Ant-Man, we're going to be dealing a lot more with the quantum realm.
Yeah.
I also think you know what? This will go for 2 hours if I keep going about everything I think about. But okay, let's move on to the MVP section.
All right. Okay. See, I'm torn between doing Alligator Loki as my MVP just for funsies, and then also just wanting to be like, honestly, B15 being my MVP because, like, I don't know, she's just fantastic. Really then to just take it and be like, you know what? I understand I'm taking the word of two Lokis, but this shit lines up way too well for me to believe anything else. So
right, it just makes too much sense.
We're going in. We're gonna figure this all out. So yeah, I'm gonna go with B15 for a serious one. If you want a funny one, then Alligator Loki because the little horns on him.
I loved it. I can't wait to see like the creative people on the cosplay side making alligator Lokis.
Yeah.
For like their kid Loki costume or something or whatever they're going to do, because it's going to happen.
I've got a little stuffed alligator from when I went as a tightrope walker from the Haunted Mansion. So I'm just going to we're going to convert that into a little Loki alligator.
Okay.
We got it.
My MVP, because she didn't get brought up in our discussion, is Sif.
Yes. Okay.
Mostly because I have a warm spot in my heart for Sif. I think that she gets the shaft when it comes to the Thor movies. Yeah. And if you know, then you know that Sif is Thor's number one.
Yeah.
After Jane decides she's going to ixnay. Like, Thor and Sif are their thing.
Yeah.
And they're a damn good thing. So Sif, definitely the return of Sif was amazing. I've kind of been waiting for her return because we know that she didn't die via Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of waiting for her to kind of pop up, and to see this, like, obviously it wasn't her, but to see her actually in the MCU again, I was like, yes, Sif, excellent. I can't remember her name now. Her name always escapes me, and then like 5 minutes later I remember. But the actress is awesome. She also has this other show that she did or is doing where she's like covered in tattoos. It's like Memento, but a police drama.
Okay.
Which is also a pretty solid show at that too. So yep, Sif is my that's also Norse Greek mythology right there too.
Yeah.
Loki cutting off Sif's hair.
Yeah.
Which then I think he gives it to the dwarfs or the goblins or something, and then they enchant it or they get gold from it. I can't remember the whole thing, but I think it leads to the creation of Thor's hammer.
Okay.
Big nerd moment right there.
Yeah.
But that's Sif, my MVP, hands down.
I cannot wait till next week's episode because there's a lot of loose ends here, and
there's a lot.
Some closure.
There's a lot that still needs to play out, and I'm excited. I have yet to be excited for the next episode of Loki. Yeah, but now I am excited for episode 5 of Loki. Really excited to see how this all pans out and what's going to happen. It's finally there. Finally got me.
Yeah, this one got me real hype this week.
It did.
And then I was mad that I can't just binge watch it.
I know.
Ridiculous.
So as always, if you're not following us on social media, I don't know why. We've literally been doing this for a long time now, and I don't know why I even keep plugging social media. Probably because social media says I should plug social media every time we do the show. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, that bell for notifications, the follow button, the download button, anything that you got to do to make sure that you never miss any content that we produce and release. Also, if you would like to help out, you can go over to patreon.com/Kapowcast and become a monthly Patreon for just $1. And you can get early access to everything we post. Actually, I think it was last week. One of our episodes was early access by 2 days.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, that's a big wow.
It's a big wow.
A big wow. Because that never happens. It's usually like 24 hours maximum. I am editing always down to the wire. And until this long week gets past us and we can watch episode 5 of Loki, I've been Tony.
I have been and will remain Christy.
Unless she's a variant.
Oh.
And we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.